Hi, Dr. Bresky. Okay, so I know you grew up and lived for a long time in West Palm Beach, and so first, thank you so much for being willing to talk to me about sort of what it was like growing up there. But I was wondering if you could first describe what it really was like a while back.
Well, my family and I moved to West Palm Beach, Florida in August of 1947. And at that time, it was a relatively quiet town. There was a military air base west of West Palm Beach called Morrison Field, which uh, had a large dependent population that uh, bought and rented homes and used the retail businesses in the area. And the town was more or less dependent on Morrison Field. And eventually Morrison Field was closed, and it became Palm Beach Airport, and now it's Palm Beach International Airport. But when it closed down in the 50s, as I recall, businesses really suffered. As far as growing up in West Palm Beach, we had a school area that was made up of Central Elementary, Palm Beach Middle, and Palm Beach High School, known as the School on the Hill. And it was more or less a magnet school as far as the high school goes. And we had no air conditioning, but we had large windows and fans. The town itself was relatively small. The situation in West Palm Beach during the years leading up to around '64 was that everyone lived with the Jim Crow laws, which, of course, was out and out segregation. And it was very unusual to me, coming from New York, to see separate facilities for blacks and whites, whether it be drinking fountains, bathrooms, or using bus services.
Mm-hmm.
The growing up was actually fun, because the Jewish community was not a large one, but we all the kids knew each other, and we had socials and get-togethers.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't bad in that sense.
Right. Well, it definitely seems like back then it was much smaller than what it is now. It really sort of had this vibe, from what I'm hearing, of like a maybe not quiet town, but definitely nothing like it is now. And so I'm wondering if you can talk about how maybe it's changed over the years, especially in regards to like the sort of urban city itself, but also especially the ecology of it, like what you sort of saw change in that regards.
Well, the changes are very significant today, in that the main retail avenue, Clematis Street, which for many years had just retail stores such as Woolworth and McCrory's and various shops. Now is a whole series of restaurants and upscale stores and venues that appeal to a younger crowd. The area west of the main city, which for many years was relegated to African Americans living there, now is a large upscale retail area known as City Place, and there's now a large facility that puts on shows called the Kravis, Kravis Center, where many programs are highlighted. There's opera places. There's upscale facilities for meetings, and things have significantly changed. Even the school that I had mentioned before has now become a school for the arts, music, dancing, and even the church where we had our some graduation ceremonies in has become a theater rather than remaining a church. So those are all things that have changed.
Well, yeah, it definitely sounds like the city's changed a lot.
It has.
I remember you telling me a while back how you used to go fishing when you could in your free time, but that eventually that didn't really become possible, right? Because sort of the waters weren't great to be fishing in after things like with all the urbanization going on, industrialization. So I was wondering if you could talk about other stuff like that as well, how you saw sort of that environment change.
Sure. Growing up, Lake Worth, which is part of the Intracoastal Waterway, was really very clear, clean water, and I used to fish along the seawall, walking along, casting out, and was able to catch a whole variety of fish, from tarpon to jacks to other types of fish. But now the water is more polluted, and fishing is not as good as it had been. I haven't fished Lake Worth for a long time, but I can see when I visit the area that it's no longer the clean, clear waterway that it once was.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember if there was like a time where it really started to shift, specifically if there was some sort of major project that was going on, or if even the city was so opposed to it when they started to see the water get like that?
As I recall, I can't make a specific date because I went off to college in 1956, and so I sort of lost track of a lot of what was going on. But I believe that changes in the ecology started probably in the mid to late 70s and continued on through the 80s, and I believe that they've been trying to clean up the environment in the 90s and of course in the 2000s.
Okay. Wow. So this has really been sort of a very impactful change that they're clearly now recognizing the significance of it, and they're trying to sort of revert it as best they can, I guess, right?
Yes.
Got to have more people like you fishing again.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you very much for speaking with me, Dr. Bresky.
Okay, well, you're very welcome.
Alrighty. Have a good one.
You too.